Welcome, everybody, back for another episode of Toast Time. I'm joined, as always, by Jackson Law and our producer, Courtney. Jackson is back this week after Popeyes kicked his ass last week. So, start off with Jackson. Jackson, how are you feeling this week?
I'm feeling much better, man. I'm feeling like a nice, crisp, buttery piece of toast this week, man. Just never again. Not eating anymore from there. Maybe at another location, but definitely not from that location. No way. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Well, this was the second time, so shame on me. So I'm not messing with that no more. I'll s-
Yeah,
I'll stick to the Lord's chicken place. I've never gotten sick from eating from one of those.
gonna have to go on a strike against Popeyes because can't keep getting you sick like this. Courtney, how you doing?
I'm doing good. At least I'm not eating Popeye, so
Yeah.
I'm all good.
Like there was a new Popeyes that just opened near my house, and where I live, we've never really had Popeyes. So I was gonna try it, and then you just told me that. So now I kind of don't even want to go to Popeyes anymore.
Listen, I mean it's good. Like the fries, like the Cajun fries they got and the biscuits are amazing.
But stay away from the chicken tenders.
Yeah, stay away from the chicken tenders. Either get the fried chicken like bone-in chicken or the chicken sandwich, but stay away from the tenders.
Oh, all
Or just
right.
make sure they're freaking cooked like they're supposed to be Popeyes.
I think I think
Gosh.
Jackson. I think at some point maybe you need to make like a special press conference about just how much you do not
Yeah,
like Popeyes
emergency
anymore.
press conference about Popeyes for you.
like how Trey had that segment on the fantasy football show. Don't eat the cheese, don't eat the Popeyes.
Yeah, except this isn't an innuendo for sports. It's just straight up, don't eat Popeyes.
Oh, well, glad to have you back. Better than ever. So we'll get into it here. First up, my buttery pick this week is going to be former two-time MVP Steph Curry. Uh, Steph Curry's had just a great year altogether. I believe he's actually shooting. This is the best he's shot from the field this season, which is pretty crazy because back in 2014, 15, and 15, 16, when he won his back-to-back MVPs, he was playing absolutely lights out and really took the league by storm. So it's crazy to think that even now, coming off of an injury where he broke his hand last year and didn't really play any games, he played like 10 games or something. It was very, very little. But to come off of an injury, the Warriors team is not that good. And he's basically carrying them on his back to even be in the playoffs right now, as it is. So I'd say props to him. Also, I have him on my fantasy team, so double props to Steph because he's doing wonders for me right now. He's just night in, night out. Dude's getting me like 70 fantasy points a game, which is crazy, but he continues to do it, and it's just been a good season for him, and he definitely has put himself in the MVP conversation this year. So he may not win it because there's other guys like LeBron James and Joel Embiid having really, really great years. But Steph Curry does put himself into the conversation with the way he's played thus far.
Yeah, no, Steph is having a great year, and in some statistical categories, he is playing just as good, if not better, than he did in the year that he was unanimous MVP. But it also goes to show you how much the NBA has changed, even from 5 years, because even though he's outplaying himself in his MVP years, he's still not the scoring leader. He's not the shooting the best from the 3-point range, like he used to. It just goes to show how much the NBA has changed, and I think that's crazy, and it's mind blowing to see that that's happened in such a quick succession. That we've gone from basically how the NBA was played for like 25, 30 years. And then in the last 5 years, all of a sudden now it's about the three, which of course that is because of Steph. is why there's a greater emphasis and why you have the rise of someone like Damian Lillard playing at the level that he has. Even LeBron's pulling up from the logo, and he had a really bad air ball on one last night. But just another step or two in is where he pulls up from time to time, and he's actually turned it to a really good 3-point shooter. I know that was a part of LeBron's game that he severely lacked, but I feel like ever since he got to Los Angeles, he's taken the step as a 3-point shooter. But Steph, again, playing great. It's just, he doesn't have that great of a team around him. So there's a greater emphasis on him. The fact that he's still scoring at this level, just goes to show that Steph still has it. All right. So my buttery pick, I am going to roll with the Utah Jazz. Now, I was with Trey. I've done an article about this, and I was on an episode of NBA Shorts talking about, are the Utah Jazz legit? And even though I lean towards the side that they're not, just from the fact that this is early in the season, even in a shortened season, we're still a little over 20, getting close to halfway done. But they keep winning. I just hope they haven't peaked right now. But Donovan Mitchell is playing at an incredible level. Rudy Gobert is playing great defense down low, really making another solid case for Defensive Player of the Year. Mike Conley, my boy Mike Conley, shout out to him, is doing great things. His plus and minus is through the roof. Leading the team in assists, not points wise and efficient wise, his greatest season, like a few of the seasons that he might have had on Memphis. But then that entire team is balling. Jordan Clarkson is the 6th man of the year, hands down right now. Like, as much as I love my boy Bobby Portis, who is balling it up with the Bucks and is one of the bright spots for them, especially off their bench where they really, really need production night in and night out. And Portis gives that to him. Even on Twitter, he admitted that he would love to be in consideration for 6th man of the year, but he said that nobody's touching Clarkson right now, which, I saw a graphic today, and it was that young core of Lakers that have now moved on.
Trust me, I know all about it.
Yeah, one of them is an all-star. One of them is Jordan Clarkson, probably going to be 6th man of the year this year. They just needed more time. You just needed to wait on them a little bit, but yeah, the Jazz have the best record in the league right now. They're playing incredible, and they're fun to watch. And I like Mitchell. I like Conley. I like their squad. I just hope they don't become, the Atlanta Falcons, or not the Atlanta Falcons, the Atlanta Hawks, which I guess the Falcons too.
Everything,
but
basically the same.
Yeah, everything Atlanta. just don't become the Atlanta anything. But the Hawks, when they were one of the better teams in the league in the regular season, and then they're putting up like 70, 60 points in the playoffs, getting blown out by 40, and getting swept in the first round as like a 1 or 2 seed.
Yep. Yeah. Listen, I don't know if I should be shocked by the Jazz, but I'm more of just impressed with how they've played this year and the fact that they do have the number 1 record in the NBA. I believe they've also won something crazy, like I think 19 out of their last 20 games.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Some crazy stat like that. They've been winning just every single game pretty much. And it's a credit to the guys that are on the bench, the unsung heroes like Jordan Clarkson, because we all knew Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert were a great duo in the NBA. Donovan Mitchell blew up, and Rudy Gobert has always been pretty much the best defensive center in the NBA. And at the same time, he's also really good at scoring in the paint and being working inside. So you just needed to figure out what the Jazz was. Well, where is the help going to come from now? Like, who else is going to be working into this mix to try to help them out? And Jordan Clarkson has taken that and just absolutely ran with it. I mean, the other night, I believe he dropped 40 points off the bench, which, it's crazy, but like I think we're going to start seeing these things a lot more of just like bench players just going off for like 40 or 50 points at any given time. and like not even because of the way that like the NBA is played nowadays, and also at the same time nobody plays defense anymore. As we all know, it's an offensive game. You can't even breathe on somebody shooting the ball without getting a foul call. So, the scores are up. Defense is down, but hey, is what it is. I just like the way the Jazz have been playing this year. And you know what? To also go off another thing about all the Laker guys, former Laker guys like Julius Randle, Jordan Clarkson, Brandon Ingram. I will say this: as a Laker fan, I would have been way, way more upset about all that if we didn't win the finals last year.
Mm-hmm.
Winning a championship just completely wipes away like every negative feeling that you could have.
That's true.
But
That's true.
listen, we traded those guys or got rid of them, whatever. It is what it is. It resulted ultimately in us getting LeBron James and Anthony Davis on our team. Then Anthony Davis signing a 5-year extension. So we probably are going to have Anthony Davis for I'd say even the majority of his career. He'll probably retire. I would hope he retires with us and continues to build a Laker team after LeBron leaves. But at the same time, even if he doesn't, realistically, we're probably looking at a good 2 to 3 title run here with the Lakers. And you know what? I'm totally okay with it. Honestly, those guys can go off in all those other places. I don't care as long as I still win. As long as I win, I'm all good.
You won't be saying that when Jordan Clarkson hits the dagger, Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah. Because I remember last year's NBA playoffs, how the Nuggets were a dangerous team and the Blazers were not a normal 8
That's how it
seed.
always goes. That's how it always goes.
Yeah. It's until you
until
you play LeBron James and Anthony Davis in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, the Lakers are my pick to get out of the West anyway. So.
Yeah, listen, everyone can say what they want, but until you rise up and beat greatness personified, it ain't.
It's just like beating Tom Brady and to an extent Bill Belichick, but definitely Tom Brady. Can't count them out until they're out.
No, not
at
all.
It's like I don't believe anyone can beat them until the game's over and they beat them. That's when I will believe that someone beat them.
You could say teams have a good shot, but still, you just got to get the job done.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm gonna go into my burnt toast now. Love when we get into the negatives. Burnt toast this week. This guy I've never liked for a multitude of reasons. But I will get into some of those. It's the point guard or the now shooting guard, whatever, of the Brooklyn Nets, Kyrie Irving. Okay, last night against the Suns. Suns are a good team. The Nets got lucky and squeaked out a win. I don't care what anybody says. That game was obviously they had no business winning that game. That was just the Suns choking. But Kyrie Irving said he was out because of a back injury. Now, I didn't believe that for a split second. I'm like, this is a maintenance day. They're gonna let James Harden play this game, and if he can keep them relatively close, they probably have a good chance to win, which is pretty much exactly what happened. So I already knew. I'm like, Kyrie's not hurt. He's just having a rest day. I'm watching this guy on the bench who supposedly has a back injury. Oh, my back hurts. I can't play. And he's got Kevin Durant riding him like he's freaking American Pharaoh winning the Triple Crown. I mean, like what the hell is going on here? Like, I'm not an idiot. Stop fooling me. And it just bothers me because like it was a primetime game on ESPN, a nationally televised game, and I got one of the best players on the Nets not playing. But that's just Kyrie for you and I don't like Kyrie because within the past 2 years, I've become a LeBron James fan because he's on my team. And I mean, that's just what happens. LeBron James goes on your team. You're a LeBron fan now. So I'm a LeBron fan. And Kyrie Irving really had all the nerve to say that, I want to play. I want to be my own guy. I don't want to be a second fiddle anymore. Then he was talking about on some podcast with Kevin Durant like earlier before the season started.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, this is the first time I can look down the court and see that I got a guy that can make that shot. Like, oh, I'm sorry because LeBron James isn't on your team. My fault. My fault, Kyrie. Okay. But Kyrie always pulls stuff like this. Like he just like sits out or like doesn't want to play. Like there was a good stretch of games right after James Harden got traded to the Nets, or like right around that time, where Kyrie just went missing. They had no idea where he was. They couldn't find him. I'm sorry, but like, how can you? What do you mean you can't find him? I'm pretty sure Steve Nash actually said he's like, I don't know where Kyrie is. How do you not know where Kyrie is?
What's up with guards going to New York and then just dipping all of a sudden in the middle of the season without? Kyrie does it. D Rose did it.
I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand it. Listen, I don't know. New York basketball has been in a very bad place for a very bad time up until right now, because actually both teams are playing really well. So I'm not going to sit here and rip either one of them too much. But at the same time, whenever something like that happens, you're just going to sit there and be like, well, that's the Knicks. And then some like with Kyrie, it's just, well, that's just Kyrie. You knew what you were getting with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you at least got to make it look believable. If you're saying you're out with an injury, you can't have, a freaking 7 foot tall, 200+ pound guy riding your back while you're supposedly, oh, I'm out with a back injury. It's bad enough where I can't play. What's bad enough where you could tote around Kevin Durant on it? I mean, yeah, it's 100%. Like, it's 100% just like a load management thing. But since you can't do load management anymore, thank you, Adam Silver in the league for that. You got to come up with some bull crap excuse as to what's going on. So you have to officially designate an injury, and that's what they did. But he's supposed to be back either tonight or tomorrow, whenever their next game.
Playing, he's playing against the Lakers on tomorrow night.
Yeah, he thought, oh, it's the Suns, I can take a night off.
Yeah.
And James Harden, had to help squeak him by, because it was basically James Harden and a bunch of scrubs. Well, not necessarily scrubs, but you know what I mean. The quality of players on Brooklyn has diminished with the acquisition of all-stars and the acquisition of James Harden. But that trade did potentially save Karis LeVert's life. So yeah, that's
really crazy how stuff like that works out.
I know,
because there's a couple stories like Karis LeVert where the guys are like, I got lucky that I was traded, otherwise I would have never had that physical, and who knows what would have happened.
Yeah, and I never knew how intense like the physicals were. They go through the ringer, like they're getting X-rays, and like body scans. It's like,
when I hear physical, I'm thinking it's like when I go to the doctor and he's taking the little thing and like tapping my knee. Like that's what I think.
They're checking my weight, just like a general like basic checkup. Like, okay, lungs sound good. How's everything? Is there anything that's bothering you? And you're just like, nah, I'm good. It's like, all right, you're good. We'll sign you off. You'll hop on the plane. You'll be with your new team in 2 days. Something like that. Which, good for Karis LeVert, but bad for my fantasy team, because Karis LeVert was on my fantasy team. So, but I'm okay. I'm not one of those dudes where it's like, no, play through it. Like, no, God, no.
Yeah, no.
Get that stuff fixed, man. You're too good of a player, and I love the NBA too much.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you're too good of a player, and I would never wish that on anybody. Gosh, okay.
No.
No, there's some people like that though. So just like,
okay.
So like real quickly before I get to my burnt, Grizzlies rookie Desmond Bane has missed 10 days with the team because his grandmother passed away, and his grandmother was basically the woman that raised him when he growing up, and then going to TCU. There are Grizz fans on forums that are like bad mouthing him for missing time to be with his family, and like how just like genuinely upset the man is that his grandmother passed away. It's like, come on, people. Like, one dude I saw, he was like, 2 weeks is like way too long. He's like, Gordon Hayward missed the birth of his child to, play in the bubble. Desmond Bane should be there. it doesn't matter if his grandmother passed away. Someone's like, how long does it take to
Okay.
bury his grandmother anyway? And I'm like, come
Oh my God,
on,
that's
dude.
horrible.
Like you're
What?
just being an asshole.
I tell you what, nah, those guys can take as much time as they need because you know what? I know everybody famously remembers Isaiah Thomas in the playoffs playing like right after his sister was like tragically killed, and
Mm-hmm.
the Celtics just did him dirty and just like
Yeah.
were basically just like kicked him to the curb the following year. Like, so no, forget the team, go be with your family.
Yeah, it's that player's prerogative. Whatever they want to do,
Exactly.
let them do it. But speaking of the Indiana Pacers and trades, although this trade did not happen, my burnt pick for this week is Danny Ainge. And the reason why is because now we have gotten some time from the Gordon Hayward, debacle where there was all these rumors. He has said that he wanted to leave, all these potential sign and trade packages that possibly could have been in place, eventually just walks. And he didn't really owe the Celtics anything, so he didn't have to do a sign and trade. KD did a sign and trade when he went to Brooklyn, just as a favor to the Warriors organization. But there was a sign and trade deal, like kind of agreed upon. It's like it's kind of out there. Like if Hayward wanted to go to Indiana, it would have involved Miles Turner going to Boston. And now Miles Turner hasn't exploded the way that you would have liked him to, like how he was. He's kind of gotten overshadowed by Sabonis, and that has to do a lot with Turner being injured for a small period of time, and just the fact that Sabonis is a baller. You can't help that. But Miles Turner, he's not really effective offensively, but defensively he leads the league right now with averaging 3.5 blocks a game, and he's fairly efficient-ish. He just doesn't shoot it at a high level. He does have the 3-point shot. It is a part of his game, but it's just, and I'm looking at Trey's article right now because it's about, imagine if the Celtics landed Miles Turner. I even remember in the Slack when this was all going on, trying to tell Trey, like, hey, that's a pretty good deal. You should bet that Danny Ainge. And he's like, no, it's Miles Turner. I hate Miles Turner. And it's like, yeah, but you can't let Gordon Hayward walk for free. You got to get something in return for him if you can. And apparently Danny Ainge didn't like him either. So he lets Hayward walk and goes and signs Tristan Thompson. But Miles Turner would be 100 times better than Tristan Thompson. Tristan Thompson is he's a dude in the paint. That's all he is. No offense, can't stretch the floor for the modern NBA. He doesn't, and like the things that he got paid for, which was rebounding and defense, he doesn't even really do that. At least with Miles Turner, he can compete and slightly slow down the two bigs that dominate the East, which is Bam Adebayo and Joel Embiid. Not saying that Miles Turner is going to be up there with them, but he can be competitive against them. And I just thought even then I thought, well, it was stupid. If the deal was on the table and if Gordon agreed to it, then you should have pulled the trigger. You should have done it, because now the Celtics are 13-13, or they're hovering around 500. They're down there where my Grizzlies are at. Like Trey and I had a discussion about this where, Trey's upset about the NBA season. He wants to move on to hockey because his Celtics are doing bad. My Grizzlies, they're still playing bad, but, I've got a young core that's, most of it is injured, but is still getting better. So I'm excited for the Grizzlies. I'm excited for the NBA. But yeah, Danny Ainge, you should have taken the Miles Turner deal, because is it the best deal? No, but it's the best deal that you probably could have gotten, and it's 100 times better than what actually happened.
I am a big believer still in like the defensive anchor, 7 foot, or like 6'11", 7-foot center. I'm still a big believer in that. Even in today's game, I believe that they do have a purpose and they do belong on teams. Listen, Gordon Hayward pretty much failed almost the second he stepped into Boston. No fault to his own, okay, because that first game against Cleveland that year when he got there, broke his leg, and basically was just never the same in Boston after that. I mean, Like they were good. They were obviously a lot better when he was on the floor with them, but it wasn't like very often that he was able to go and play for the Celtics. And you got to get something. I mean, with free agents like that, and you kind of have a feeling that they're gonna leave. I mean, listen, Danny Ainge is not stupid, so Danny Ainge had to have known he was leaving, but Danny Ainge is stupid for this. You're gonna not get Miles Turner. Instead of Miles Turner, you know, you're gonna go and you're gonna want to go and get Tristan Thompson. Really?
Tristan Thompson, yeah.
Tristan Thompson is just a body in the paint. That's all he is. He's just a body.
Yeah, if you want a quick comparison right here of Tristan Thompson versus Miles Turner this year, stats by stats, Tristan Thompson is shooting a little under 500. He's at 49% from the field. It shoots 0% from three because he doesn't shoot threes, and is grabbing about 8.5 rebounds a game, 1 assist, and like half a block a game. Whereas Miles Turner is shooting exactly 500% from the field. But here's the thing. He's making almost 2 3-pointers a game and shooting almost 5 of them. So he's shooting 330 from 3-point land, and is averaging almost 7 rebounds, an assist, and a steal a game, and 3.5 blocks per game. So, yeah, Danny Ainge, you should have taken that offer.
Yeah, Miles Turner is definitely worlds better than Tristan Thompson. I don't know why anybody would have sat there and said, I'd rather go and sign Tristan Thompson when I could have traded for Miles Turner for a guy that wasn't even going to come back next year. That is just one of the dumbest things ever.
And the 5 is the biggest weakness of the Celtics team. They get exposed every single night.
Their starting center is Daniel Tice. I'm sorry, but Daniel Tice is not a starting center.
No.
It's just not going to work out. Well, listen, you won't catch me crying seeing the Celtics doing bad. I'll tell you that right now. Believe me. All right, so my extra crispy this week is going to be the NBA schedule, and specifically how many damn times the Pelicans are on national television.
Preach it, brother.
I know we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but I'm sorry. Last night really ticked me off. I'm looking at the schedule last night because I was just getting out of work. I said, let me see what games are on. I saw Celtics Nuggets. I'm like, that's definitely on TNT. Wrong. Not on ESPN, not on TNT. You know what was on ESPN? The Pelicans and the Grizzlies.
Grizzlies, yeah.
No offense to the Grizzlies. I don't see them that much. So, by all means, I'll watch the Grizzlies. I do not need to watch the Pelicans again. I get it. They were building it as Zion and Ja. I know. But come on. I got the Nuggets and the Celtics or the Pelicans and the Grizzlies. The Pelicans are under 500. The Grizzlies are 500. The Nuggets and the Celtics, I mean, the Celtics are 500, but 500 in the East is like the 3 seed. And the Nuggets are in the middle of a playoff race, as they normally are. So why can't I watch that? Why can't I watch Tatum and Nikola Jokic? I got to watch the Pelicans again. I'm sorry, but I don't need to see the Pelicans every week. I feel like they have a primetime game almost every single week. They're on TV way too much, and they're just not good enough to be on TV that much. Like the Lakers aren't even on TV that much. And the Lakers just won the championship last year and have LeBron James on their team, and they're not even on primetime games that much. It's getting crazy. Like, it's getting crazy. I understand they want to talk about the Zion hype, but it doesn't need to be like this. Like, it really doesn't. It's absolutely crazy. Just please do me a favor, NBA. Adam Silver, get them off of national television as much as you're putting them on. They do not deserve it.
They don't deserve it, man. We got to stop with forcing them down our throats. Like, they were coming off a 3-game losing streak going in to playing the Grizz. And I mean, Pelicans always have the Grizz number. So, I really don't want to talk about the game last night. That was, but the Grizzlies, they're down a bunch of rotational players. I mean, they almost, I swear their PR account that I follow almost reaches their max character limit on their tweets when tweeting out the injury report on who's out. They have to get really creative, and use a bunch of abbreviations to tell you who's missing the game and why. But yeah, man, it's getting ridiculous. Like, I'm looking at the schedule right now to see when the next time they're playing, but there's so many other good games that I would love to see. And yeah, even though both the Nuggets and the Celtics aren't having the seasons that their fan base thought they were going to have, that's still a really exciting game, more of an exciting game than seeing a Pelicans team that is underwhelming and a Grizzlies team that is rebuilding, and a man by the name of John Conchar, the sharpshooter out of Purdue, is getting over 20 minutes a game.
Oh my God.
Along with Sean, I think his name is Sean McDermott, someone that we picked up randomly in the offseason, like at the last minute or whatever. It's crazy. So as much as I love seeing my Grizz get love, and I mean, they didn't even have the full crew for TNT that night. Ernie wasn't even there. Shaq was the only regular one there. I forget who the other dude that was standing in for Ernie was.
I think it was Dwayne Wade. And
yeah, you had D Wade there, but then I don't know who the third guy was that was supposed to be delegating between the two of them. That basically had Ernie's job. But I guarantee you for the Nets and Lakers game, you'll have the full TNT crew there. It's like not even TNT cared. It's like even TNT knew that was not a good matchup. So it's like, Ernie, Chuck, Kenny, you guys can take the night off. Go spend time with your families that night. If you can, if COVID restrictions are a little low there in Atlanta, I don't know. It's like, go take your wives out to eat or something like that. I don't know. Shaq, he could have gone and taken care of his Krispy Kreme that burnt down, which is very sad. I do love me some Krispy Kreme.
That's tragic.
It is very tragic. But I agree. Get them off my TV. I don't want to see them on my TV again until they're like the 6th seed. And it's like late in the season. It's like if they make it to the 6th seed and they're really in contention for a playoff spot, then yeah, you can show them to me. But until then, please just stop. Just stop. So my extra crispy this week is going to be the Seattle Seahawks, finding an excuse to talk some more NFL, even though the NFL season is over and it is an NFL dead period just because the new season hasn't even officially started yet. So there's like nothing happening.
Oh, don't worry. Wait until the trades start rolling.
It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful, and I'm going to love it. I'm going to love it, baby.
Back into an NFL show. Don't you worry.
Yeah. But specifically talking about the Seahawks, man, I think that the fire is starting on one end of the bridge between the Seahawks and Russell Wilson that they need to try to put out now before that bridge gets burnt, which is something that we have already seen happen with Deshaun Watson in the Houston Texans. That bridge is burnt, and Deshaun is got to get moved. He's got to get moved now. There's no way that he can play for that organization anymore. And I mean, we've had a couple of articles on Vendetta that have talked about this recently. And there's a combination of everything that is happening, and it starts with the organization as a whole. The front office, they are not protecting Russell Wilson at all. He's one of the most sacked quarterbacks over the past couple of seasons. I'm looking through Dakota's article. There it is, 146 times he has been sacked in the last 3 seasons. That is unheard of. That is a terrible, terrible offensive line. He should have, I don't know if Russell Wilson, if he bought anything for his offensive lineman for Christmas, but if he did, it should have been like a $10 Starbucks card or something like that. And that's Yeah, for real. Like Carson Wentz is giving his offensive linemen shotguns. Some of them are like handing out like Rolexes and stuff like that. No, Russell Wilson. Yeah, he'll buy you a coffee like that next morning that you come in to the practice facility. But that's it. That's what you get. You don't even deserve that. But then also just Pete Carroll too. Talking about him, I partially blame him for kind of some of the stuff that's going on, because it really wasn't until this year that he started to really unleash Russell Wilson. Now, Russell Wilson did make some questionable decisions with the football. There was a couple games that I was able to catch and watch of the Seahawks, and he made some bad throws. He made some bad turnovers, and he doesn't necessarily have a lack of weapons because he's got DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Those are two really good receivers, especially DK Metcalf, one of the top 10 receivers. You can make an argument for maybe even top 5, but top 10 definitely. And if you got a top 10 receiver, then you've got a great chance of your offense being great. And that's what their offense was this year. It was great, but he has no run game. He has no offensive line, and Pete Carroll's defense is getting stagnant. I like Trey's comparison when in his article that I believe it was published today talks about how Pete Carroll should be on the hot seat. I 100% agree that Pete Carroll should be on the hot seat, because I like the comparison that he is the defensive version of Mike McCarthy, where 10 years ago, Mike McCarthy's offense, it was great. It was fantastic. Aaron Rodgers was winning MVPs. He won a Super Bowl, for goodness sakes. How do you win a Super Bowl with Mike McCarthy? You be Aaron Rodgers. But now Mike McCarthy's offense is terrible, and it's because it doesn't change. It doesn't adapt. Everyone else changes around you, but you don't change. That's what Pete Carroll's defense is doing. It has gone from a top 5 defense to one of almost dead last, like one of the worst 5, 6, 7 defenses in the league. And it's not for a lack of effort. They made a trade for Adams that I thought wasn't, I thought they gave up way too much. Who gives up 2 first-round picks for a guy that has 2 interceptions in his entire career, and he's supposed to be like a Pro Bowl level safety? There's players on that defense, but that defensive unit and that defensive scheme does not work. And I don't blame Russell Wilson when he's going out there and scoring 30 points a night, and the defense is giving up 35 points a night, and they're struggling, and they limp it to the playoffs and then get their butts kicked in the playoffs. I don't blame him for wanting to have input. And I know everyone has been making fun of Wilson of okay, well, then you go sit with the scouts, you go to the Senior Bowl and you sit in there and all this, that, and this. But what I think it is that Wilson is just frustrated and he doesn't know what else to do. Wilson's pretty quiet. And the fact that some of this stuff is getting out, not just leaking out through sources, credible sources that are close to the Seahawks organization, but the fact that he also goes on a show, and I'm forgetting the name of the show. It's the Dan Patrick Show. It was the Dan Patrick Show. He goes on and gives that interview where he's talking about how frustrated he is. And he's like, this is my legacy on the line. I want to, I feel like, I'm one of the best. I want to be the best. My legacy is on the line. I'm getting older. There needs to be a contingency plan in place right now for Seattle before they really piss off their Hall of Fame quarterback. And if they have a terrible offseason, if they whiff, and I mean whiff in the draft, and they don't get him an offensive lineman or 2, just to give him a little bit of extra time in the pocket, because he's running for dear life back there. He looks like Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, but every single Sunday that he's out there, and the occasional Monday and Thursday game. Get that man some help, because this may be the last season. Dakota's talking about how we're blowing it out of proportion. I don't think we're blowing it out of proportion. When there's smoke, there's fire. If I'm standing at one end of the bridge, I am seeing smoke rise up from the other side of that bridge. And there better be people from that Seahawks front office within that organization that are trying to put out that fire at the other end of the bridge, or it's going to come down to the fact that Russell Wilson is going to demand a trade. And that is almost, what is the value of a Hall of Fame quarterback? And then that's going to be the problem that you're going to run into, because you're never going to get enough for what he's worth. You can trade up to 4 picks consecutively, or into the future, 4 picks of any type in the NFL. I looked this up. You could get those 4 first-round picks from a team, and you will still not reach the value of what Russell Wilson brings to a team. So they better figure it out.
That was perfectly put because I said that earlier this year where the defense was really struggling, and I was saying they got to do something about this team, or Russell Wilson is not going to take this anymore because Russell Wilson is a Hall of Famer. He's got a Super Bowl, so there's not much on the line for him as far as I got to win with this team. Why should he have to win with this team? He already won with this team. He's been single-handedly basically carrying this team for, I don't know, you could put it X amount of years since the Legion of Boom was still around. Okay, the Legion of Boom ain't here no more. Russell Wilson's been doing this on his own, winning the division or just making the playoffs, making a playoff run. He's been doing this on his own. And this year was terrible. Like what you brought up, that he's been sacked 140 something times in 3 years. Okay, not only is that just awful, that is just an awful stat to even have, but you can't have that. I mean, the guy's gonna get hurt. I mean, we've seen what happens when offensive lines just completely are inept and just allow their quarterback just get hit over and over and over again. I.e., look at Andrew Luck, who is no longer in the NFL because of this. You don't want this happening to Russell Wilson. And I tell you what, Russell Wilson is a smart dude, and he knows his worth, and he knows that he will easily be able. He'll go somewhere else. Does not matter. So the Seahawks better figure this out. And no, you're absolutely right, because I think Dakota is just a Seahawks fan that doesn't want it to be a big deal. But no, it is a big deal. Like when you got your quarterback going out there on interviews and shows and openly talking about how his offensive line has basically failed him, that's not good. Okay. And it's not even like Russell Wilson is the type of guy that's just going to throw all his teammates under the bus. He's not like that. He like, for him to do that, that's really out of character. And you only get your guys to get out of character like that when they're extremely frustrated and just fed up with the way that things have been. So Seahawks better figure this out, or they're going to end up trading Russell Wilson. And that might be the only thing I could think of that's worse than trading Deshaun Watson is trading Russell Wilson. So they better figure that out, because they don't want that situation on their heads. I'll tell you that. But anyway, I'll go into my toast of the week this week. And listen, my toast of the week, got nothing to do with sports, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. It's winter itself. I'm tired of winter. I'm sick of it. I lived up here in New York in the Northeast for 24 years, my entire life, and I'm tired of the winter, man. I'm tired of it being cold. Like I wake up in the morning, I go outside, and I am freezing. I just got hit with a massive snowstorm not even 3 weeks ago. Now I got another snowstorm coming tomorrow. And then on top of all this, I know that like Texas is going into like a state of emergency because they've never been this cold before. They got power outages going on left and right. You got icicles coming down from the ceiling fans in people's apartment hallways. I'm seeing pictures of. It's crazy. I'm tired of winter, man. Can it just be summer already? And like I know it's only the middle of February. Winter ain't gonna end for at least until the end of March. So I don't know. I'm just sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of winter, especially living in New York. You know how bad you can appreciate winter and you can like when it snows and stuff, but it's different when you live in New York. When you live in New York, you hate the snow because the snow just makes the roads terrible. And up here, nobody cleans the roads. Okay. The plows are useless. The city workers are useless. Okay. It never gets done. Please forget if you go to New York City and it snows. You go to New York City in the middle of a snowstorm. Well, I sincerely hope that you waited until 1:00 in the afternoon to start driving, because before that time, ain't nothing's going to be done. The roads are going to be terrible. It's going to be awful. And everyone in New York drives like assholes. So you're just going to get mad. And it's going to be just road rage mixed with snow and ice. And that's not good, because then you're just playing with your life. So I'm tired of the winter. I just want it to end. Either that, or I just need to go to Florida. I think I just need a nice tropical vacation. And since I can't go out of the country because of COVID, I think I'm just going to go to Florida and enjoy a good 2 weeks to myself on a beach.
Yeah. See, I think just because of we live in such different areas, I think that, that definitely has an impact on what people like. See, I love winter, but it's because of where I live.
Oh.
Let me tell you where I live at. I live in a state that is 48th in education. Okay. So it's a bad state. All right. There's a saying around here. It's thank God for Mississippi and West Virginia because they're 49 and 50 respectively. So Arkansas is holding that 48th spot. And it's not a great state. It's not a well-run state, just terrible and awful. So but I'm stuck here. Got to live here for a while more. Hopefully Vendetta takes off. Hopefully what I'm doing in my day job takes off. That way I got money. I can move wherever I want. But since I'm stuck here, I've got to deal with the summers here. All right. Now here's the summers here. On average, I would guarantee you at the peak of summer, it gets no lower than 92, 93. But it's not your average 92, 93 because the humidity is always above 90%. All right. So it's hot. It's sticky. Heat index puts it about 100. You walk outside and you're instantly drenched in sweat. It's like, what's the point of showering? If I shower, I'm not stepping outside anymore because I am instantly, if there's something I need that's in my vehicle, I get it tomorrow. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be my phone charger. My phone's on 15%. I just got to stay off my phone. All right. And not only that, but I live in a farming area. Specifically, people grow rice around here. Now, to grow rice, it's got to be really wet. What gets attracted by really wet, marshy areas? Mosquitoes. There are so many mosquitoes. There are so many mosquitoes that the city for free has trucks that go around 24/7 spraying the area, probably chemicals that are giving us all cancer around here. We're all going to be dead by the time we're 50 because we're just constantly breathing it in. No one knows what's in those chemicals. And then not only that, but it's everything else that comes with it. Is there's a terrible wasp problem around here. I hate wasps because they're just assholes for no reason. Bees, I'm cool with bees because they make honey. I love honey. I homebrew mead. So, I appreciate them for that. And and they're also chill because as long as you don't like get near their hive or you threaten their queen or anything, they're not going to come after you. They're just pretty chill. Even when they're out pollinating and stuff, I can be working out in the yard and they'll pass by me and it's just no big deal. Wasps doesn't matter. They see you living, they're like, you shouldn't be alive anymore. And you know what? Bees die if they sting you. Wasps, they just continue with their life. Okay, so screw them for that. You sting me, you should die. So, I spend countless amount of money on just wasp spray, and then for services to come out here to my garage. And I'm like, please, for the love of God, can you clear the wasps? And they're like, nope, not going up there. See you later. And then just leave, and then I get even more scared when I find dead hornets in my garage because I'm like, screw that. Everything that's got a stinger on its ass lives around my house, and I'm tired of it because it's like, it's like I feel like I'm in a war zone when I go outside. One wrong step and like that's it for me. I'm just gonna get swarmed and attacked because there's yellow jackets in the ground, there's wasps in the walls, there's bees up in the trees, there's hornets somewhere. It's just awful. And the one time I get a break from that is during winter, and I just like snow.
That sounds like that sounds like a really bad place to live.
And no, like, listen, here's the thing. You can't keep like front porch lights on at night or else it becomes like a beacon of civilization for every mosquito in a 20-mile radius. And it's like a person lives there. That's a food source. And then it's like when you leave or enter a house, you have to do like a police stack up on the door. Open it, rush in, and close it as fast as you can. And even if you execute it perfectly, a minimum of 20 mosquitoes is getting in your house, and you will not find them until it is 1 o'clock in the morning. You are so tired and exhausted, and one finds its way into your ear. That is what it's like to live in Arkansas, my friend.
Well, I'm glad I at least don't live in Arkansas. Sorry, but I will say that.
It's horrific. It is horrific here. Specifically, my area is bad. There's other places in the state that are all right. You know, like the closer you get towards Memphis is actually pretty nice, you know, but it's so bad. Because like I've been places where it's hot before. I've even been overseas and it's been like over 100 degrees. I've never sweated as much as I do. I went on an archaeological dig in Portugal and it was the equivalent of 95 to 100 outside. Did not sweat as much as I do going to the grocery store during the summer here.
Oh my God, Jackson, you got to do yourself a favor. I think you got to move I think you got to move up to the Rockies where you went on vacation a couple weeks ago. Just stay up there. It's winter all the time.
Dude, it was perfect up there. It's perfect up there. That's where I belong. And my family they come from Ireland. It's a dark, dreary, cold place to begin with. We don't like the sun.
Vampires.
I have to wear like SPF 150 when I go to the pool, man. It's bad. I'm out there for more than an hour. I'm cooked. When I do yard work, I gotta dress like the Unabomber. I'm in a big hat and like long sleeves and gloves, and like every inch of my skin is covered.
I could tell that definitely hit home. Oh, man.
But yeah, okay, it's my turn, right? Yeah, sorry.
It is your turn.
Went on a really long rant there
Long
about that.
rant.
I know that was yours, and I probably spoke more about it than you did.
100%
But understand
it. It's all good.
But listen, see, you can like summer because you're so far up north that I'm sure it gets hot like in the city and stuff, but it's not 100 degrees and sticky, and you're getting carried away by mosquitoes.
Now, like we do have mosquitoes, especially in my backyard, but not as many as you're talking about.
They're like this big. No cap. They are like that big around. I told that to a man in Ireland when my wife and I went there a few years back, and he was flipping out because he was like, "You're joking. You're lying to me." I'm like, "I'm not lying to you. They bite through clothing."
Oh, that's probably the worst.
Yeah. All right, so back to the topic at hand. What this podcast is about. Another thing that I'm fixing to go, not as much as on a rant on. It's weird. I go on the longest rant about the one thing that doesn't have to do with sports, and this is a sports show. But my toast of the week, it's your boy LeBron, man. Your boy LeBron, and by extension, and your extension by Kyle Kuzma.
Go ahead,
all right,
go ahead.
Just the worst flops I've ever seen in my life. It was so bad. The NBA came out and gave him a warning, him and Kuzma both. So the Kuzma one, he just looks silly because he like gets touched in like ballerina pirouettes like off to the sideline, like he's in a production of Swan Lake, and he's one of the background dancers, and it's time to come off stage, and go back to his makeup or something, or whatever. That's what that looked like. And LeBron, no one touches him, and he flies backwards like that and gets the foul call. And like, I know it's a part of the game, but that doesn't mean we have to like it. Okay. Just like how shortening the stocks is a part of the game, and trying to drive down the price and using the media to shut the people down, that's under the rules. It's fair. But is it ethically right? Is it something that we should support? Is it something we should try to change? And listen, I don't blame the players. All right. If anything, it should be the refs' fault. That should be the real toast of the week, is the refs, because they have bred an environment that encourages this. It encourages shooters that when a defender is in the air and in a defensive play to jump 2 feet to the side and 1 step backwards into the defender and then try to go up for a layup and then get the foul called, or when a defender is trying to closely follow someone around a screen as they're coming around a screen or a handoff to just jump back the opposite direction as the defender's rolling around the screen, trying to keep up with the defender, or, an extension of what I said earlier, where you've got someone behind you and you shoot a jump shot, like jumping backwards and then forwards. No one shoots a jump shot like that. Luka Doncic is starting to really do it. It's getting annoying. Trae Young is one of the worst to do it right now. In fact, I think he has overtaken James Harden.
Oh, God. He just goes on
as
30-minute
the guy.
tangents of yelling at refs like while the game's going on. Trae Young, I
I
can't
know.
even like watch.
So I guess just like on the fly, I'm changing my toast of the week to the NBA refs, just from the fact that they encourage this. They have created the environment that allows what some people see as the greatest player of all time, and a man that is on record as saying, I don't need the flop to get foul calls. I don't know what flopping is. And then seeing him flop in a midseason game against a terrible Grizzlies team that they should have, easily handled and beaten by 25, 30, 40 points. It's the ref's fault. So that's who I'm switching it up on the fly, and I can do that because I'm the co-host of the podcast and screw anyone else. So yes, I'm changing it to the NBA refs for breeding that type of environment.
All right. Tell you what. You want to go and blame the refs for breeding the environment? Yes, by all means, do it. What I'm going to tell you is don't hate the player, hate the game, okay? Just because LeBron James happened to be the best at doing this. Well, I wouldn't say he's the best at doing this, but he's one of the top guys at doing this. Just because he does that, don't hate the player, hate the game.
No, I'm gonna hate the player. I'm gonna hate the player too. Yeah, Courtney just mentioned Kyle Lowry. He's one of the dudes. He's like every time he drives, he just cocks his head back. He just got punched in the face. Him and Chris Paul both do that. They just like randomly cock their heads back.
But it's like everybody nowadays. Like we can go and talk about Jimmy Butler the other night. He flopped too when he's sitting on the ground. He's going like this. He goes, oh, and then he looks up. He's like, did anyone see that?
Dude, no, listen, it's out of hand. So again, like the refs have bred the environment, but I'm still gonna give crap to the players. It's almost getting as bad as soccer out there. And we always make fun of the European men's soccer players where they get touched in the shin and they act like they got to have their leg amputated. It hurts so bad.
They get shin kicked and they're bringing out the stretcher like the guy just got shot from like.
Yeah, you get shin kicked. You got freaking shin guards on that protects you from that. You're not hurt. Okay.
Oh,
I got cleated in the chest one time and had an imprint of someone's metal soccer cleats in my chest. I was out for 5 minutes and came back in. You're fine.
See, that's one thing you'll never get from hockey players. Hockey players get their jaws broken in the middle of a game and then miss maybe like 5 minutes of game time and come right back.
Yeah. They like their next line change, they're back in.
Exactly.
They get taken
miss
out.
a line change and that's it. Oh my God. But yeah, no, hey, listen. The refs have bred this flopping business and they're the only ones that can stop it. Although I don't see them stopping it anytime soon. So
of course not.
We're gonna have to maybe NBA fans should start a petition about how much we need flopping to get out of here.
Hashtag stop the flop. Let's get it trending.
Seriously. So I'll go into my soggy toast. This man, Blake Griffin. I just need to keep talking about Blake Griffin, man. He is just so bad. And this man hasn't done anything. You can almost use the Stephen A. Smith rant about Kwame Brown on him. He goes, he got small hands, small feet.
A bona fide scrub.
Bona fide scrub. Doesn't have a post move to memory. I mean, Blake Griffin literally relied on all his athleticism, and then now that's left him because he hasn't even dunked the ball this year, which is crazy for a guy that made his career out of dunking the ball. Now he doesn't know any post moves. All he does is run around the 3-point line and try to get a spot up three, and then you look at him and you're like, you only shoot like 25% from three. What are you doing? And that's all he does nowadays. And he absolutely deserves the Pistons to be like, listen, just stay home until we trade you or release you. I don't know, but like we just don't even want you around anymore. And you know what? I don't even blame the Pistons. I don't even blame the Pistons. Although the Pistons are a bunch of idiots, honestly, for even getting this guy. And I mean, that's just Detroit sports for you. Like Atlanta sports are the kings of choking in the playoffs or just choking away regular season games. Yeah. Well, Detroit is probably Detroit sports are probably the king of just sucking and just not knowing how to capitalize when they have like good trade packages to be given out. So Blake Griffin, my soggy toast this year, and just I don't know, just get lost. Also, I heard talk about some people were saying the Lakers should pursue him. Absolutely not. I want him nowhere near my team. Absolutely not. No, I don't.
You can get him for dirt cheap because I've seen people talking about getting a first round pick out of him. There's no way you're getting a first round pick
Hell no.
out of Blake Griffin. They get cash
hell?
considerations, maybe, and then some dude that's at the G League bubble, but that's about it. You're not getting anybody for this. And like, yeah, it's I don't blame them for making him stay at home either. It's like, listen, the 25 minutes a game that you get, we'll hand some of those off to like, Sadiq Bey or, Isaiah Stewart, like rookies that are performing well and are our future, or, giving it some more effort, like focusing the offense around Jeremy Grant, who is just balling out of his freaking mind right now, but the Pistons, I still think are a stupid organization because they gave Mason Plumlee or Miles Plumlee, one of the Plumlees, they gave him a huge, massive contract and they let Christian Wood walk. And it's like, even though you got Jeremy Grant to compensate for that, you still let Christian Wood walk. And the dude's balling down in Houston right now. And you could have got Christian Wood for cheaper than what you got Jeremy Grant for. So that didn't make any sense. But I've hounded on the Pistons. They had a terrible offseason, but I knew Sadiq Bey and Isaiah Stewart were pretty good pickups. I like those picks, but that's, those are two decent apples in like an entire batch that's just rotten and terrible. And one of those is Blake Griffin, and you tried to get him out of there, but doesn't matter. You still got like 15 other rotten apples in the batch as well. You just got rid of one, and you're not getting anything in return for him. Oh, man. All right. So my soggy toast is going to be the Miami Heat excluding Bam Adebayo.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why I'm excluding Bam Adebayo is because this man legitimately is doing everything he can to make this Heat team succeed. He's pretty much tied with Jimmy Butler for leading the team in points, but he also leads at around 20 points a game. But he also leads the team in rebounds, assists, and blocks. And he's also averaging a steal a game. So, I mean, this man is playing lights out. He's playing out of his mind. He should be an all-star. I think he should be an all-star. And I think he will, especially considering that we've got, East and West and whatnot. But just everyone else, Jimmy Butler, I know he's missed some time, and he's a different type of athlete, comparatively speaking. He's not necessarily a guy, like the other stars that are going to get you like 25 points a night. He's doing fine across the board, but just the team as a whole, it feels like they've kind of taken a step back. Kendrick Nunn feels like he's taken a step back. Tyler Hero, he's balling pretty good, but Duncan Robinson is still doing his thing. But it's just the team as a whole. They're not closing out games. They're supposed to be a defensive team, and they're not really stopping a lot of teams. And they've just been really disappointing because a lot of people, even after their run, they were like, Miami, they're still going to be a great team, and they really aren't. They're out of the playoff picture right now. In the East, in a weak East, they are out of the playoff picture right now.
So honestly, I thought that the Heat would be doing a lot better this year than what they're doing, and typically you see this in sports in general, not even really just in basketball, but when a team goes on like a Cinderella type run the year before, they make it all the way to the championship. Either they win or they don't win, but they make it a lot further than everyone thought they were going to. Tends to kind of fall short of expectations the following year, which is what's going on with the Heat this year. They are not living up to what they were doing last year, and I don't know if it's just like maybe just get them to the playoffs and they'll turn it on. But they got to do something. I mean, Tyler Hero, we were talking about him all like all throughout that whole playoff run. I remember a lot. Tyler Hero was being talked about as, how great he's been as a rookie. Like he's doing extremely well. And this year, I feel like Tyler Hero kind of like fell off the face of the earth. No one's even talking about him. And it's even funnier because I know a couple Heat fans, and like I'll go and see like Heat Twitter sometimes, and there were people on Heat Twitter that actually were saying they didn't want to give up Tyler Hero for James Harden. Like, I'm sorry, but I would have done that. And
yeah, no, I saw something similar where it was like a poll, and it's like, which would you rather have, Tyler Hero or like the number 1 overall pick in this upcoming draft? And it was like 63% voted that they would rather have Tyler Hero than the number 1 pick in this upcoming class.
Like Tyler Hero,
and it's like, this is a good draft class.
Yeah,
like
he's a good
it's like
player.
Really the top 5 or 6 you can't go wrong with.
He's a good player, but come on, he's not. He's not. I'm not gonna say he's not gonna be a superstar because we don't know. You never know with these young guys. He's shown you a lot of promise, yeah, but at the same time, I would have traded him for James Harden in a heartbeat. I'm sorry, that's just me. I would much rather.
He's the reincarnation of Mike Miller. That's who he reminds me of a little bit.
Oh man, I remember Mike Miller. That's a throwback Heat player.
Hey, throwback Grizz player too, man. That's all I know.
That's right.
That's
He was on the Grizz too.
And he's on Penny Hardaway's coaching staff at Memphis, or at least he was for a while.
Yep, that's right. Hey man, listen, Tyler Hero. I know this wasn't about Tyler Hero, but I every time I talk about the Heat, I just got to go with Tyler Hero just because of I'm sorry, but how do you not want to trade Tyler Hero for James Harden? That's like the Lakers 2 years ago when I forgot who it was. Oh no, I know almost every single person on ESPN. Yeah, up you, because they were all talking about. They were all like, "Oh, the Lakers gave up way too much to get Anthony Davis." Blah blah blah. They get Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball and Josh Hart. And then we went and won the championship, and Anthony Davis signed with us for 5 more years. So you can all go take a scratch. Shut up. And it's just another point of how I'm sick and tired of ESPN, because they always want to rip on like the big market team, and then when the big market team goes and wins a championship, then they turn around and they're like, "Oh, I told you so." It's like, no, you didn't. I really got you documented on tape. I caught you in 4K, bro. 4K. I caught you. Come on, dude. You were acting like a moron. Anyway, so we'll get into our last segment here, go into some predictions. And this prediction may not be as bold as some of my other ones from earlier this year, like my Browns beating the Steelers in the playoffs. And I say my Browns because I just love that pick, and that was like
so
one of my best picks.
You betting on them again? Are you gonna start betting on them again when the season rolls around? Still haven't made it out of your book, huh?
Yeah, see, like I had to bet on them during the wild card round because
too good of a pick.
Like, listen, what am I gonna do? Not pick all the playoff games in the wild card round? Like, obviously I'm gonna make picks for all those games. I did go perfect on that on wild card weekend, just saying. But that Browns pick was definitely my cigar that week. So this pick, the New York Knicks, even though tonight they just had an absolute stinker. I don't know if anyone's really paying attention. I got the game on. I got MSG on right now because of course I bet on the game. And the Knicks never failed to disappoint me at times. Even though I'm not a Knicks fan, I'm still from New York, so they still have to disappoint me. They went and just lost by 20 to the Magic without basically their entire squad. I think the Knicks are going to make the playoffs, and I think the Knicks will win a playoff series this year. I think the Knicks can win a playoff series this year. I tell you what, they play the defense that you need to win playoff series, and it's just a matter of where they get the scoring from. So if, Quickly and Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson and D Rose, if they all step up in the playoff series, they very well can win a playoff series this year. I'm not saying they're going to go very far past that point, but I think they can win one.
Yeah, I mean, Rose and Quickly may be the best backup
They are doing
guard duo
tell you what, they're
in
doing
the
a hell of a
NBA.
job. Doing a hell of a job in the backcourt. They're closing out games in the backcourt for the Knicks. D Rose and Quickly. And I like the both of them. I like how D Rose has kind of evolved his game in his later years to where he's actually, still able to play. And I loved Quickly. I thought he was a great player and a steal in the draft for the Knicks. So I cheer the guy on because I actually do like Quickly, and it's nice for Knicks fans up here, as I know a lot of them are my friends. I feel bad for them at times, so it's nice that they're finally winning some games and they can feel good.
Yeah, there's and the thing is that they're still below 500. That's the thing.
It's like they're the 16.
Yeah,
they're the 16.
That's how bad the East is. You could be below 500 and still be considered like one of the top half teams in the Eastern Conference. It's crazy. But I'm gonna go with kind of a bold-ish prediction. Also, I guess it's kind of bold considering who it is. This is centered around the Milwaukee Bucks. So right now, the Milwaukee Bucks, they are 16-12. They're not doing that great. They're normally a great regular season team, but this season, not so much. I am going to predict that within 2 weeks, so we'll check it out, that within 2 weeks, they will be either at 500 or below.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to predict that because here's their schedule coming up. So they got clapped by Toronto, Oklahoma City, and Utah in their last 3 games. They even lost to Phoenix. Last win was February 8th against Denver. Good win, but still, that was their last win. This is what they got coming up. So they've got Toronto coming up, who they just lost to. It's a TNT game, so I will definitely be watching that. Then they play OKC, Sacramento, Minnesota. Sacramento and Minnesota should be winnable games for them. And then they've got New Orleans, which is a TNT game. So again,
of course,
New Orleans,
of course,
primetime slot 8:30 also. And then they got the Clippers and the Nuggets to round out before we meet again in 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks we'll have to come back and look at that. But I think that they only win 2, maybe 3 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. And if that's the case, they will be hovering at around 500, and it's not going to look good. It's not going to look good for them.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that pick. The Bucks have definitely not been doing great this year, and listen, I think I might ride with that. I will call it. This will be to myself. It'll be the fade the Bucks pick, and I'm just gonna pick against them for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, like just looking at their schedule, they really don't even have that great of wins, and which is the NBA is a little odd. So it's like beating Cleveland right now is like a good win because they're like in the playoff hunt, or beating Atlanta is a good win because they're in the playoff hunt. It's weird. It's very, very weird. But it's like the teams that are like legitimately good or teams that are in the playoff hunt. So like Utah, lost to Utah both times, lost to Brooklyn, lost to the Lakers. It's probably, they've lost to Toronto. They probably won't beat Toronto either the next time that they play, which is their very next game. So I don't know, man. I see a lot of Giannis on here, but that's about all their team is Giannis. They're still missing Drew Holiday, I think, and Chris Middleton is just bad. Or he's not bad. I don't want to say that Chris Middleton is a bad player, but it's like he should be a number 3. He's a number 3 on a championship winning team, not a number 2.
My God, Jackson. Before we wrap up, I got to tell you what I seen on Twitter. Drove me crazy. Drove me absolutely wild. Somebody actually was going to sit there and say that Chris Middleton and is better in his prime than prime Carmelo freaking Anthony. I wanted to throw my phone out the window. I wanted to just delete Twitter right then and there because I couldn't believe that I read those words. I read those words.
And
I couldn't believe
and what's awful is you don't know if it's a troll or not, but it's probably some 14-year-old kid that never saw Melo play. You know, it's like how there's been a conversation. There's legitimately people that are calling him Melo. They're calling him Melo, and you got people like me that it's like, no, he's LaMelo. Only Carmelo is Melo. That's the only Melo.
I can't even believe that like we have to have this conversation. It's just like
It is
it's
blasphemous.
It's terrible. It's
It's
atrocious, chikangerous, deplorable.
honorary toast time to whoever said that thing about Chris Middleton. That's just,
Yeah. I could care less to go and find that guy's Twitter account because God knows
I can't tell if I want to be sad and cry or like
Yeah.
angry and hunt this guy down and punch him in the face.
Lord knows I will not go and plug someone's Twitter account that says something like that. But
No.
that is one of the worst takes I've ever seen.
Now tell me what it is off camera so that way I can mute them. I never have to see anything floating on NBA Twitter.
I will. I'm gonna go back on my phone. I'm gonna try to find that again because that was just ridiculous. I seen that earlier today and I was like, what? Oh, but anyway, on that note, that wraps it up for Toast Time this week. It's a great episode. Nice having Jackson back. As always, special thanks to Courtney, our producer. Thank you. And we will see you guys next week. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to the video when you watch it on YouTube. And you can also catch us now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you get your podcasts from. I will have that link up in the post that goes up with this on the Vendetta site. So so go check us out on that platform as well. If you like listening to us, listen to us in the car, driving, want to have some good laughs. But anyway, we will talk to you guys next week and have a nice day.